Okay, good evening. It's 7:00 p.m. and today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. This is a hearing for the Speedway Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Tim Ramian. I'm the current chairperson of the BZA. Attending this evening on my far left is Steve Jones, secretary, and then next to me on the left is Curtis Miller, and our other two board members, Robert Hodge and Hayden Flynn. Also in attendance is Mitchell Rector, our staff person from Etica, and our recording secretary was unable to be here this evening. I have sworn everybody in that wishes to speak tonight, and I ask everyone to please silence your cell phones. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The first item of business this evening will be the election of officers for 2025. Does one of the board members have a slate of officers to present?
I would like to present the following slate, ask a motion that we vote on Tim Ramian as board president, Curtis Miller as board vice president, and Steve Jones as board secretary.
Could I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, then I already understood there's no one else that wishes to serve as an officer, so we'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. The motion carries 5-0. Okay, I'd like to go over the rules for this evening. The presenter of the petition, any remonstrators, and any proponents will each have 15 minutes to present evidence. Following their presentations, we will hear a staff report from our representative from Etica. After the staff report, we will allow up to 5 minutes of rebuttal from each of the petitioner, any remonstrators, and any proponents. The next item of business is the approval of the meeting minutes from the November 6th, 2024 meeting. Does anyone have any corrections or changes?
No.
Okay, if not, may I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, and a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, the next item of business is petition number 2025 DVS 001 for 2117 North Cole Street. Will the petitioner or representative approach the podium, please, and state your name and address for the record? Please.
Dave Derbyshire, 2101 Fisher Avenue.
Okay. Hello, Dave. So if you could, you are representing the petitioners,
Yes.
correct? Okay, could you tell the board what you're seeking approval on, please?
They had an existing patio and a pergola combined as one.
Okay.
They tore that down without a permit and rebuilt it on the existing concrete that was already there and everything, which was already an encroachment. And then when they started to build the new one, obviously they couldn't finish it. So therefore, that's where we're at today, getting the variance to finish up what they've already started. But as far as any concrete work or drainage or anything, nothing's been changed in 20 years.
Okay.
Basically, they're attaching a new pergola on a back porch on top of what was existing already.
Okay. So the dimensions of the pergola are similar to what had already been there?
Yes,
Okay.
they're exact same, actually.
Okay. And let's see. So the variance they're seeking
Well,
is...
excuse me, there was actually two of them there. They've tore those both down and built one that equaled the same size.
Okay. And they're seeking a variance for the setback from the side property and also the amount of green space or open space, I should say, is normally 65% and they're requesting 62%. I'll ask my second question. Has the new structure already been built?
Yes, it's 70% done.
7?
70.
70, okay. All right, thank you. I took a picture off of Google Maps today, so I wasn't like trolling their property or anything, but I just saw this on Google Maps, and I believe it shows the actual structure with the fence. That's from Google Maps. So I guess it's irrelevant whether it's the new one or the old one, but I don't know, can you see, if you want to look at this, Mr. Derbyshire? Is that the?
That is the new one.
That's the new one, okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So that shows, I guess I'll turn it over to the board members. What questions, please, what questions you have for?
So the original structure was a pergola, and now it is an actual shingled roof?
Yes, it was a wooden structure as well as a metal addition onto it, for lack of better words.
So the pergola was not covered with a deck? It allowed water to pass through, hit the deck? No? Okay.
Yeah, it was partial shingle roof, partial metal roof.
Okay.
That they just hodgepodge together over the years.
Okay.
And just tore it all down and made one nice one.
Okay. And then in the plan, it says a gutter board. Are there going to be gutters along this roof line?
Yes,
there's a stop
on the
board.
south, no, I'm sorry, it'd be on the north, yes, south and north side would run gutters to the easement.
Okay. And where, south and north side, so where are those gutters directing the water?
Right down the fence line.
Down the fence line? Okay.
Robert or Hayden, do you
So
have comments?
it's, the overhang is 24 inches plus an additional 3 or 4 for the gutter? Or does that overhang include the gutter?
That includes the gutter.
That includes the gutter, okay.
Yeah, to me, it seems like it's a very small variance that you're requesting. Is there any way to just move it a little bit to comply with?
They've already, not really. I mean,
Okay.
if it can, anything can be moved,
Well,
it's made out of
sure.
wood, but it'd be a major expense to the homeowners.
Is that because it's, you guys already put it in the cement and?
Right, well, so the concrete was already there. What they did was they put the post down, anchored them to the concrete, then they built a Trex deck around that.
Okay. I don't know if you know the answer to this. Have the neighbors had any issues?
No,
with the
and
prior
actually,
one?
she went to each and every neighbor on the whole block and asked if there was any problems or anything, and no, they keep their yard immaculate. No, to my knowledge, they have no problems with the neighborhood.
Okay.
And so obviously, you're going to put gutters on it, and I think that's great. Is there enough room for them to actually get there and clean the gutters out whenever they get full? I don't know how much space there is between that fence there and.
Looks like it's about, I mean, I would
No,
say maybe.
a person could not fit between the fence and the gutter.
So they'd
either
have to go into the neighbor's yard?
neighbor's yard or do it from the roof.
Okay.
Steve or Hayden, do you have any
Not
questions?
yet. I don't.
Not yet,
Not
okay.
yet.
As far as the overhang, that could be cut back. If that was in any way, shape, form, or fashion an issue, the overhang could be cut back if necessary.
Okay, so you could cut it back to where it's not potentially draining off into the neighbor's.
Yes, yes,
If the gutters were to overflow and even to give more space to clean the gutters.
right.
Okay.
Anything else before we hear? Well, we can always come back. Okay, thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, we will then, John Merritt, were you going to speak then on this?
I can speak to, do you want him to go first, or you want him to go last?
Either way.
The
Why don't
the
you-
only thing that,
State your name and,
I got it,
yeah.
sorry. John Merritt, Town of Speedway Building Commissioner. The main thing that if it is chosen to grant the variance they actually built in front of the electrical meter and the overhead. And so that is now kind of in the middle, which they created a violation by doing that. Okay, so the if you guys choose to allow them to leave it, it's actually on the back of the house. Then they added this in front of it. And you can never have an electrical wire going over a roof.
They usually come at the
At
end.
the very end,
The end.
if you understand what I'm saying. You can't even run like an electrical wire over a detached garage in town either.
So that's not something we could approve via variance.
It would be
assuming
part of a
that's-
condition or something, I would think.
Oh.
But you understand what I'm saying? You wouldn't want to approve it with that condition existing. If you choose to approve it, then it would be part of the condition, just to make that legal, whichever way they, meet the minimum code. That's the main thing I wanted to.
Is
make
this
you-
the drop wire that you're
Oh,
referring
yeah,
to?
yeah, it's a service for the house.
It's the service for the
Yeah,
house?
and
Okay.
that's, you can never run that over garages. And the reason why they have it run over there, because the pool's on the other side and there's huge clearances to overheads on pools as well.
Okay. Okay, so it's over the top of it, it's not, okay, it's over the top of the new structure.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then connects to a
The,
pole, I'll say,
got it,
at the back of the old house.
got it.
And when they had the portable structures, those shouldn't have been under there either, but it clearly on a permanent structure,
Right.
you cannot have that.
So the old structures, and I don't know if Mr. Derbyshire knows this or not, but the old structures were probably either built before there was a
Kits
code
or,
change.
the kit type thing, I would
Right.
say.
Yeah, okay,
They were probably about 2 foot shorter.
Yeah.
okay.
And you're not, we've actually even had people move the portable roof, metal roofed gazebos as well, unfortunately, when they didn't, they put them in their backyard and didn't understand that you couldn't have the drop over that either. So it's an unfortunate issue we have in town.
Okay.
So that's the main thing I wanted to speak on.
And any questions for John?
I guess in a odd question kind of way, does that make us, if we were to approve that, and there was any kind of issue with that power line,
You would have to do a condition.
does that imply that the town is allowing that
No, you would do a
on the side of
condition.
AES?
No, you would have to do a condition that they adjust it to meet the minimum electrical code standards.
So they would have to make a change?
They would have to move the service, just to be honest with you.
Okay.
Does that answer your,
To make it easy, they would have to move the service.
okay, okay. Anything else yet?
All right now.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if we could hear then from our staff person?
Good evening. My name is Mitch Rector from Etica Group. Our office is at 8720 Castle Creek Parkway, East Drive. I was asked to review this petition and assemble a report for the board to help you guys make your decision. So two variance requests being made that the petitioner's rep already brought up. The minimum setback for the side yard, they're requesting a reduction from 4 foot. Because this isn't a compact zone, typically that would be 5, but here 4 foot is the minimum required. They're requesting approximately 2.5. When this had originally been submitted, I was assuming 2.5 feet to the post of the deck, but with the 2 foot overhang, it's probably closer to about a half foot or a foot, based on where that gutter line is going to be. And also the minimum open space requirement. For a D5 zone, the minimum required is 65% of the lot has to be exposed to the weather. In this case, based on the dimensions that were provided, this would be about 62%, so it would be below the minimum required. So as far as recommendations, While typically we're in favor of a homeowner being able to perform projects on their house that will add value, in this case, unfortunately, I do recommend a denial to these variances as they were submitted, and I'll go over why. So summary of issues. First off, talking about the zoning, the land use zoning in the area. The lot itself is D4 in a compact zone. Like I said, that creates a little bit different dimension requirements. Surrounding zoning is all similar. It's in the middle of a D4 compact district. And then we have, obviously, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as a special commercial zone 2 blocks over. So the subject site is about 1/5 of an acre and is improved with a single-story home with landscaping and shrubbery in the front yard and hardscape and a pool in the backyard. I believe there's 2 Home Depot-style 10-by-10 sheds also in the back, which contribute to the open space reduction. So for variance of development standards, like I said, this is requesting the setback and the reduction of the minimum open space. So sort of like what John had already touched on, these side setbacks are in place with the intent to make sure that the owner and neighbors are able to appropriately maintain their house, whether that's cleaning out gutter lines or getting onto the roof or anything like that. It also allows space for utility connections, whether that's electric or gas or water. It makes sure that there's enough room for those crews to come in and they're not impeded by something else that's going to be in their way. But most critically, it also prevents danger overflows onto other properties if there were a fire or a very heavy storm that was dumping a whole lot more water, whichever way. So in this case, because when Tim showed the picture of the current roof, the semi-constructed roof, you can see it is within about a 1/2 foot of that fence, and it is sitting much higher than the fence. So you can assume that in a storm event, excess water is going to be shedding if those gutters get clogged directly into the neighbor's property, and it'll then be harder to maintain those gutters because it is so close to that fence. So in the interest of protecting the neighbor to the north, there could be issues with that. Similarly, for the open space requirement, a lot of these open spaces are to help mitigate how stormwater collects on the site. Obviously, if you have a roof with shingles, water's going to move a lot faster through that than in grass, which could then again start shedding onto neighbors' properties faster than anticipated.
Okay, that's fine.
Going over the lot itself, so based on the table 742-103-6, in a compact D4 district, the minimum lot area is 7,200 square feet, and the subject site is greater than that, so that is being met. And the minimum lot width is 60 feet. The existing lot is, I believe, 74. So both of those requirements are being met. There's not really a case where the lot is in such a way that this was the only way for this building to get constructed. I'm not aware of any prior zoning variances that have been granted to this. It does sound like there was a previously existing pergola, but the nature of it being lighter weight, possibly movable, with it being torn down now, not too much else to say about that. But in this case, the original proposed design could perhaps have been smaller, shrunken in another 1.5 feet, and you would still have a nice covered porch in the backyard and not be infringing on these setbacks. So as such, it seems that any difficulty with this has been self-inflicted by the owner, unfortunately, just due to the nature of trying to rush through this construction. And in the interest of protecting the lot to the north of any sort of problems with that setback, we are recommending a denial. Are there any questions?
I guess we heard the proponents say that he can cut back the overhang. Does that change your feelings at all about?
So this is just a recommendation. If you choose to vote on an approval with a condition, I think that would be within your rights and within the purpose of this board. Otherwise, I think it would fall into zoning enforcement, which isn't necessarily the purpose of this report. It is just to say, this was what was proposed in this petition. This is how it relates to the zoning ordinance manual. And these are cases where we would understand a variance and cases where we understand why it's being requested but disagree. So based strictly on what was submitted, still a denial, but if some sort of deal could be worked out, then that would also be understood.
Any other questions for Mitch?
No.
The question I have, though, is if we discuss potential, if we approve it, do we discuss conditions now, or do we discuss conditions after we approve it?
I think now.
Yeah, before.
And we need Dave and John back up here,
Okay,
okay?
okay. All right, thank you, Mitch.
Thank you.
I would like to start out talking about if the roof line is cut back, I'm not sure I feel confident that it would still provide the owner an easy means of access to the gutters or that roof line without accessing the neighbor's property. I still have a concern. I have a concern about that, and I know that I appreciate the fact that the current owner has approached neighbors and gotten a verbal concurrence from them. However, people don't live in their homes forever, and I don't know. It might be setting a standard that we've approved something that might not be appreciated in the future. That's just my opinion. It's a concern, and I'd like to hear the other board members if your thoughts about if we did approve, with any conditions. If you see any other drawbacks to that by approving. Robert?
I mean, yeah, I think that there are certainly going to be issues if we approve it, and I do tend to agree. I don't know how much he can cut off, obviously, because, obviously, I can't, I don't know how much space is there just from that picture, but it doesn't look like he can cut a ton off that side, I wouldn't think. Also, I didn't know about the electrical situation as well, and having,
Right.
I'm assuming AES would have to come out and move the box, and, I don't.
Probably put it underground.
Put it underground in.
So, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, why don't you call Dave up to the mic?
Oh.
Mr. Derbyshire.
Oh,
He's got some questions.
oh, okay. So Dave, would you come back, please?
Dave, do they understand about the power situation?
No, to my knowledge, they're out of town, unfortunately, and that's the first I've heard of it. Speaking on their behalf, as far as the power situation goes, we can have RC Electric and AES out there within a week and have it engineered. The homeowners are more than willing to do whatever can be done. As far as moving the power, I don't, without them being here,
Right.
I don't believe that would be one issue whatsoever. If it was approved on the condition of, and I don't know the exact dimensions, I did not build it, I was not involved with the construction of it. I'm going to just guess we're going to gain at least a foot and a half on cutting the rafter tails back on the north side. And I
Okay,
think-
how far is the structure from the fence without the overhang? From the post to the fence? Do you know?
No, I don't, Steve.
about 6 inches wet. You're saying, sorry, from
No, from the post to the property line, not the overhang, the post.
I believe that's the 2.5 feet.
2.5 foot.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
It's the post. Right.
So
This
you think
post.
they'll be okay about moving the power, their service? And so now we're down to the space between the fence.
And I think we're comfortably saying if we have 2.5 foot, I can get at least 2 foot out of it.
Okay? So that's all I have, Dave. Now I need John. John, are you okay with the power if it gets moved?
No question
With
about it.
that?
And I just said underground because there's so much already back there.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, if they can do it overhead, underground, whatever, they can do, yeah, I'd be fine with that. And as you say, cutting it back as much as you can, making sure that has a gutter, that the drainage definitely does not flow towards the neighbor, whichever way, then, yeah, we'd be
Now, the
comfortable.
storm sewer is back on their northeast corner of their property.
Okay, there you go.
So if the gutter goes.
Towards the easement, the
east,
rear, the
yes.
common easement in between that and the other street?
Yeah,
Okay. So, yeah, that would be fine with us. I think that we still gain what we need to out of it at that, and yet they don't have to tear the whole thing down or whatever. That's not our goal. We want everybody to be able to do what they want at the house. They just need to meet some minimums.
Correct. Well, I appreciate that info. Any other questions for John?
I guess
Gentlemen?
that's why
I
I
have
want
no
both them up
questions.
here.
John?
So
Okay,
we-
thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's why I wanted both them up here, so we could talk about that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And do we need to have Mitchell back up at all? Mitch, for,
No, I think those just need to be the conditions.
okay.
The overhang gets cut
So,
and the power gets moved.
the first condition would be that the power is brought into
Compliance.
compliance. Power is brought into compliance. And the cut, we would need to, I would say, probably put a condition for a minimum removal of material, whatever that number is, if they can take it, whether it's 16 inches, 20 inches, wherever, that they have to remove from it in order to, for us to approve this. So I don't know what we want to put in writing so that John has some sort of guide to work off of.
Well,
If we have 2.5 feet, if they have 2.5 feet, they need 6 inches from their post out.
so,
So
Right.
if that's 20 inches, we could cut it back to 16. If that's 24, we could cut it back 20 or whatever. We'll go the maximum out, leaving the 4 inches.
So you only need six inches of overhang to put,
So maybe we say no more than 6 inches of overhang then, instead of saying a minimum cut.
correct.
Okay.
That would, yeah.
because that was my biggest issue, is having water just go onto the neighbor's yard.
Well, and like I said, if they run the downspouts to the east, there's a storm drain back there.
Okay.
So,
And it should be, and obviously, hopefully that'd be enough room for them to clean the gutters if they need to as well.
Okay. Were those the two conditions we would?
Anything else?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay with that.
So I will make a motion that we vote on this variance with the two conditions. The first one being that power is brought up to code, and the second one being that max overhang is no more than 6 inches from the north posts.
Okay,
And could I have do I hear a second?
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Secretary, would you pass out the
Oh, they're over
ballots?
there. Okay, I don't know what that is. Sorry.
Will the secretary please read the results of the vote?
Yes. 2025 DVS 001. It is 5, 4, and 0 against.
Okay, so this variance request has been approved with the conditions that we stated earlier. And I appreciate all the participants asking really good questions, like John Merritt said, we don't really want to deny anybody improvements to their home, but we, I think, all feel better that this will be done in a safe manner for the neighbors and the owners too. Okay, so then, is there any other business to bring before the board tonight? Okay, hearing none, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:30 PM.